Hello, welcome to estateagentexam.com. Today's 7th of November. I'm doing a presentation for new pricing structure, which I have incorporated some of the uh, new structures of membership, where people who are taking single subject or a few subject, loose subjects, are now able to subscribe to this learning system. Let us begin. So this is how I look like, and the diploma I obtained from board a while ago, and also the exam notification letter that you receive in a hard copy. So the objective of this presentation is about trying to have a strategy to have a small steps to achieve a bigger outcome. And then we hope that those who are embarking on this exam can in fact go with the no turning back, and then we leave no stones unturned to be able to accomplish this diploma in estate agency exam. Again, this is a die must do type of spirit, because you are looking at probably taking the next few years to complete this diploma. Giving up halfway would be a waste of effort lah. So the examiner, the board of examination would not issue any certificate if you are halfway. So test water, this is another issue which I want to address, because we have the 3 attempt rule, whereby a candidate need to complete part 1 in 3 attempts within 3 years. So this means to say some are not aware of this, and then they take a loose subject, single or a few subjects, and then they actually utilize the first attempt, a wastage of first attempt, not able to complete the whole part 1 in 3 years, and then which means that they have to repeat every subject in part 1 for the reason that they cannot complete to go to part 2. So on the fourth attempt, number 4, fourth attempt, the particular candidate has to retake the whole 6 subjects if they have not completed the first part, the part 1 within 3 attempts. So this is important to take note of. Of course, there are other reasons also. Some people may want to do the exam and then save some money by choosing those tougher subjects and harder subjects, so that they save on the total cost of exam. So e-learning courses are now quite common in the sense that classroom style are moving on to e-learning because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to make a difference comparison here, for the reason that we are not similar to many others, because we are self-study mode, and self-study mode is actually self-paced. You don't have anyone to push you. There is no scheduled classes. You do it on your own timing. Self-research also, because self-study mode means that you have to take charge of your own, to do some questions on your own, with the idea that you are going in and learn the new topics, and the sense that there is no one pushing you, so you have to be able to fully control your timing, and then at the end, because there is no extra effort by lecturer or by the material which is getting in from the external source, there is no extra cost. So it means to say you actually pay much less. In fact, in our online self-study mode system, you only need to pay one time 1,400 ringgit for getting the resource material online. This one means there is no hard copy, but online you can always refer back, and then you can continue studying using this platform for the required number of years. So for this particular one-time package, it's only 1,400 ringgit. So this is how it looks like in the website, where each and individual subject has got the summary. You can click in and be able to listen through the video, as well as attempting some of the quiz that I have created. However, the main part of the platform, the resource platform, is for looking at 2019 as early as 2011, from 2011 to 2019 past year question and my suggested answers. So by looking at these suggested answers as well as the topic that are targeted and repeated, candidates can attempt this exam in a more strategic manner. So that's what I put up earlier on, the purpose in the sense that to have small steps and then achieving a bigger outcome. Right, this is the single one, easy to understand membership subscription system that I have created. On the left hand side, which is the accessibility, you can actually see the past year paper coding according to board. Diploma is D01 until D06 is part 1, D07 until D12 is part 2. So these are past year questions with my own suggested answers from 2011 to 2019. And I do also have my own design questions, similar in numbers. So here in the total about 800 over question answers, and then my own design question answers also about 800 of them. So all in the whole system has got about 1,600 question and answers. So the numbering system for my own design questions is different. 1.1 meaning part 1 paper 1 until part 2 paper 1 2.1 until 2.6. So if there are students who are interested to take up the part 1 and part 2 package, that means the person in fact has all the accessibility to read everything. So you can see from here to read part 1 and part 2 past year question answers, as well as my own question design questions. Whereas if a candidate only would choose to do part 1, then the candidate choose only to take the part 1 subscription package, which is only 600 ringgit, able to read all the past years for part 1 as well as the own design question for part 1. Again, if there are those who want to in fact prepare for just part 1 part questions or part 1 part subjects, so there is a smaller package which allows the candidate to just do some of the harder subjects in part 1, and then after maybe attempting them, then they can move on to the full part 1 eventually. So some also may choose to do part 1, but at the same time, while waiting for the result, when they have set for the exam in July or August, then the waiting for the result, they want to embark on the preparation for part 2. So this is a program package for senior, which is 800 ringgit. The candidate can access to part 1, at the same time some of the subjects in part 2. So these are the law subjects in part 2 which are more demanding, so therefore it requires more preparation. So let me explain further that there will be some who would maybe choose to do 1 or 2 subjects. This can be due to retaking the paper, and then earlier on they probably study on their own without guidance, or they have gone for the colleges and then they find that it is not suitable to repeat in the college. There are personal reasons, and therefore I have come up with this design of 1 or a single or 2 subjects. So in such a manner, if you have a person who is in part 1 and now wanting to repeat the law paper, then the possibility now is that there is this particular package, Introduction to Law, where the candidate can just do 1 law subject at 250 ringgit. If the same candidate prefer to embark on preparing for the part 2, then they can add on some of the part 2 subjects at a single subject at 300 ringgit, and here I do give 10% discount. So if in such a case a person in part 1 now repeating law, at the same time thinking of using the study together to do part 2 law subjects, Then there is a 3 subjects, which is in this package, 900 ringgit minus 10% discount, 90 ringgit is only 810. So the idea is, while waiting for the result in part 1, because part 1 result also takes time to come out, as together with the part 2. So that means every candidate need to maybe have free time for about 5 to 6 months waiting for the result. So before they know that they are getting a pass, but they cannot move to part 2. So in this case, maybe some of these candidates want to use up the free time while waiting for the result to be announced for self-studying some of the part 2 subjects. So this is our structure for a new system to engage people who are more keen to do part 2 while waiting for part 1 results. Similarly, there are also some in the part 2 scenario where they may repeat some part 2 papers are hard to pass. So for those who are just going in for 1 or 2 subjects, this is the new format where we allow 1 or 2 subjects at a cost of 300 per subject in part 2. And then, of course, there are some who probably fail 1 or 2 papers, or they choose to do only 1 or 2 papers, and therefore they can actually further combine the remaining subject that they have not done in the same manner, where I give a 5% discount. So this is how it looks like when you actually subscribe to the subcategory of packages, and in the sense that there will be just law relating to property only, or a combination of law relating to property with estate agency practice, or a combination of more subjects, so that in the way a person in the sense has got more choices to choose or how many subjects to take. And these combinations are now more flexible, as I have designed the websites in more mirror sites, so to be able to allow more combination of loose subjects. Similarly, for those who are doing maybe part 1 in different places, maybe colleges or self-study, and now wanting to use this system to come in to join us in the part 2. In this sense, there is a part 2 program or part 2 package designed in full for this group of candidates. Likely, there are also some who may have a combination of subjects of part 1 and part 2, like example, building technology 1 and building technology 2. So this type of scenario is that some of the subjects are actually combined in the way to have question that is overlapping. So in such a manner, taking building technology 2, you may need to revise the subject of building technology 1. So this new format of membership subscription, we are able to allow this combination. And similarly, for those who are taking repeat, maybe they have to retake building technology 1 in the part 1, we would recommend that building technology 2 be studied in the same context, so that they can actually target more overlapping subjects. Thank you very much for following up this new membership subscription packages. Thank you so much.